Stay tuned to learn what our top reasons why we love living in Colorado Springs. I'm Ryan, a born and raised Colorado native.
I'm Carrie, a Texas transplant and a Colorado newcomer.
Join us as we share accessible adventures to help you explore the hashtag Colorado life like a local. And the first reason for just myself is the weather and the seasons. You know, here in Colorado, you can easily experience all 4 seasons in one day.
Number 2 is you can actually get water from the tap. So you don't have to buy bottled water anymore. You can just get it from the sink. We also love the mountains. So many different and famous mountain ranges in the state, and a lot of them you can see from different cities along the Front Range or when you even go into a mountain town. Camping is also another reason why we love living here. I mean, Colorado was made for camping. You can get out in nature super easily. There's so many mountains everywhere. It's very easy to get away for a night or a whole week. We also really love the snow. I mean, so much. We basically can never get enough snow time.
Now, being a chef, some of the reasons I really like living here are obviously going to be some food reasons. So there's the peppers that grow here. There's also the Rocky Ford melons and cantaloupes. There's the Palisade Peaches, which Palisade is on the other side of the state, but we still certainly have access to them. There's the game meats that you can get here in Colorado, like the Rocky Mountain oysters. If you don't know what that is, go Google it. We've had yak, we've had elk, venison, bison, ptarmigans. I mean, there's just access to all of this stuff. And then one thing I love about Colorado Springs is the emerging food scene.
One thing I want to say about the food scene is specifically the food trucks. There are so many delicious and unique food trucks in the city and the state overall, really. The ability to easily escape the city. You can escape to the mountains anytime, escape to some of the beautiful lakes and reservoirs that are here, and just escape to anywhere in nature in general.
There's also the work-life balance that Colorado just naturally brings to people. There's also the breweries here. As you know, Colorado is really known for its microbreweries, and Colorado Springs is no different. There's also pot. That's another one Colorado's known for. I mean, some people really love it. We are, after all, the highest state.
The 17th thing on our list so far is that Colorado Springs is very dog-friendly.
There's also the skiing that's nearby. There's so many ski towns that are within like an hour or 2 from us, and it's a really good and easy way to have a great getaway.
Natural hot springs are very nearby. That is awesome for relaxing and easing any aches and pains. Some of them are turned into full-fledged resorts, while others are more rustic with just basically a pool of hot, bubbling water with minerals that come out of the ground.
There's also the cooler temperatures in Colorado Springs versus the other cities, or due to the higher elevation compared to like Denver or Boulder, it's usually about 10 to 15 degrees cooler. And then if you compare Colorado Springs to like Pueblo, we're talking like 20 or 30 degrees difference.
And since the city is a little bit cooler, you don't have to have AC in the summer. In fact, our house doesn't even have an air conditioning installed.
And most houses don't.
Colorado Springs is also cheaper than many other places in the state because Colorado is expensive and the housing market can seem totally out of control.
There's something that we recently found and we have really enjoyed, and that is snowshoeing, which is just a great way to get outside.
Right outside our front door is Garden of the Gods. This is a really gorgeous national landmark that is completely free to visit. I mean, what more could you ask for, really? Another reason that I love Colorado Springs specifically is the unique coffee shops and tea houses that are here. Colorado Springs really does love their tea and their coffee. There's a lot of quirky shops here and restaurants that have been Colorado born and built and then have expanded even across the nation.
Another thing I love about living here is the colorful landscape. Well, at least most of the time. There's a short spring and a short fall season, but those are profoundly beautiful with their wildflowers and their leaves changing respectively. Going with that beautiful landscape, there's always that present wildlife that's here. I mean, we've seen raccoons that were trying to get into our neighbor's house. We were walking by a creek and we saw a skunk that was rooting around down there. And this time we almost walked into a black bear when we were hiking with its babies. We turned around and hightailed it away really quick. There's the Air Force Academy that really helps to fuel the military infrastructure that is here in Colorado Springs. But one thing that's specifically really cool is that every May they have the Thunderbirds Air Show for the Air Force Academy graduation, which, you know, it's not like you can force somebody to not look into the sky or force them to pay. So it's basically a free, really cool show of watching these 4 or 5 jets in formation fly around. It's really neat. Also, Colorado Springs is just big enough to get really good concerts and shows. It's not like you have to drive to Denver.
But if you do want to drive to Denver, it is pretty close. And that is one of the things we like, the proximity to Denver. is pretty near. It's about 75 miles south of Denver, so you pretty much just get on I-25 and you drive the whole way there, and you can get access to anything that you would need, all of the big city amenities that are pretty close by, although Colorado Springs is a very big city itself. The air quality here is also top notch. I mean, you always feel like there's fresh air. It's never too hot. It's not stagnant.
There's never smog.
Thanks to the mountains and everything, you just are able to have a really good weather flow. The air is very fresh here, and we love it.
Manitou Springs is nearby, and it's a very hippie, laid-back vibe sort of town with these quirky shops and art and this like old-timey theme, and it really is like a hippie haven. So it's a really fun and unique place to go. And within Manitou Springs is the old Manitou Penny Arcade, which is exactly as it sounds. It's a penny arcade.
Old Colorado City is another place that we love. It was originally the capital of Colorado until they decided they wanted to move it to Denver, but it's a very historic place to visit with lots of shops and unique food. It also hosts a lot of Colorado Springs events in the spring and fall and summer festivals and so many things to do.
Kind of similar to that is that the downtown of Colorado Springs certainly feels more like an uptown. Farmers markets are really a great gem. The short growing season means that here in Colorado, when the fresh farmers markets do come around, they really are a blessing to get some really good, fresh, quality groceries. And those goodies that I was talking about, like the cantaloupe and the peppers and those game meats that are available.
Open spaces are another thing we really love about living here. Even in the middle of the city, there are so many open spaces with walking trails and biking trails and things to do. It feels like you can escape to nature without ever even leaving the urban area. Another thing I love is the small business scene. I mean, it's really easy to buy local and support local businesses. The entrepreneurial mindset is really widely available here and accepted, which is more so than other places I've been used to in the country. There are a lot of local groups for people who own their own businesses or people who are coming up with new ideas or freelancing. Lots of meetups and co-working spaces and so many things to do and connect with people who are like-minded in that area.
At number 40 is the Olympic Training Center. And this is one of the reasons why the Springs is very, very fit. A lot of people come here to get high altitude training, even if they're not affiliated with the Olympic Training Center.
Which brings me to my next point, which is the Manitou Incline.
Talk about getting elevation.
This is another big draw for, why people want to come here or live here, and it's a really big physical and mental challenge. I trained for it a couple years ago with a friend of mine, and we spent 6 months training really hard for it. The Manitou Incline is pretty much a beast. I mean, you're scaling the side of a mountain. It's about 2,000 feet in elevation, and it is no joke. Cheyenne Mountain Zoo is also on our list as one of our absolute favorite things to visit. We visit this zoo every year, if not multiple times per year. And we're not the only ones who love it because it's been named the number 4th best zoo in North America by USA Today. And this was in 2018, 2019, and even 2020.
There's also the May Natural History Museum, which boasts the world's largest private insect collection. Now, I know everyone's a little bit squeamish to hear that one, but it's really fascinating. You'll actually learn quite a lot, and it's really fun for the entire family.
And we can't have a list of things we love about Colorado or the Springs without mentioning Pikes Peak. I mean, this is America's mountain and the mountain that inspired, the Purple Mountain Majesties in the national anthem. Which brings me to my next point, which is absolutely beautiful views. I mean, you pretty much have a beautiful view of the mountains no matter where you are in the city. The grocery store, you can even go to the gym and see the mountains. It's very common to have nice, gorgeous views of the mountains and all of the scenery nearby.
And then on top of that, there are the sunsets, and it's really cool when the mountains are aglow from the gorgeous sunsets. You usually have these really vivid, bright pinks and purples and oranges and yellows after the sun has gone behind the mountains, but it hasn't quite hit that dusk time yet because the mountains are simply just obscuring the sun before the sun goes behind the horizon.
A lot of people in Colorado like to call them candyscapes. We like to indulge occasionally in the Rocky Mountain Chocolate Factory, and in fact, it started here in Colorado Springs with the original store, which is located in Old Colorado City.
Then there's the Broadmoor that's nearby, and we go here every Christmas season. It's a 5-star resort with exquisite grounds, restaurants, shops, and even a small lake on the property. Pike National Forest is nearby, which encompasses pretty much all of Pikes Peak and much of the surrounding area and the mountains that are around it.
If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button to show your support. And to get new videos from us every week, be sure to hit that subscribe button.